from the podcast, Grant's Rants Hollywood Talk. It's Grant's Rants Small Talk. Real Housewives of New York City Rundown.
Let the ranting begin. We're back with another Real Housewives of New York City rundown. Today we're talking about season 12, episode 11 already. The title is Love Him and Leave Them. And calling in to run down the episode with me is good friend Noah Silverman. Hello.
How are you?
Who knows? How are you?
Yeah, I guess that's a good response. I don't know either. I'm okay.
I will say I'm in a pretty good mood because I actually laughed out loud a couple times in this episode. This episode, again, the hypocrisy is real, but I laughed. It made me laugh, not the hypocrisy. I have to be so careful. Just like, it was a ridiculous episode.
I do feel like Real Housewives has brought me some levity throughout the coronavirus, definitely.
Yes.
And New York is definitely a goofier one than some of the other cities.
Yeah. Oh, this show's ridiculous.
Yeah.
At least, and I've been bitching about this for weeks, but we finally got to see some of New York City. Actually, this episode took place completely in New York, which I was very happy to see because, I mean, the Vineyard and all these other places, I don't care to see them outside of the city on vacation for 23 weeks.
I think it's weird because I guess especially a lot of them are single now and live in these smaller apartments. Like, they're not these big, extravagant, like, society women. So I feel like it's true that, like, in certain cities, you're always at their houses. And New York, like, you really never are. Like, Ramona's apartment, like, when they got into that weird fight, that was, like, the first time that I think we've seen her apartment in God knows how long, except for some weird quick scene of her, like, cooking something with her dog or daughter.
Yeah. That's true. I mean, I don't even think Sonia even owns an apartment. I think she lives with her daughter. So she can't have, what's she going to do there? And it's like it's a simple, like, nice 2-bedroom apartment, but there's no, like, grand space to host anything.
I guess that must be why, because we always saw Sonia's townhouse, but I feel like we never see her apartment now.
No, I don't think it's hers. I also, like, wonder, like, are there permit issues? Like, they can't get into certain, like, places. Like, I loved when they had the pier, the wine at the pier. Oh my God. We were just talking about this last episode. I can't remember the name of it, but, like, that was, like, lovely. Like, I would like to see more stuff like that. You know, and can a hotel take them in? I mean, can we go find anyone that will take these women in?
No, I think you're right. I'm sure a lot of the HOAs and, like, condo boards or co-op boards don't allow that. That's actually a really valid point. And it's like, I feel like I would forget that all the time, but that makes a lot of sense.
A hotel would take it because they just charge them. They just have to pay a fee. And I noticed that's what they did here with this Green Room 42 at the Yotel, which is I'm sorry. You know what? I love the Yotel. I know it's a goof, but that is how I'm able to make so many trips to New York, or at least that's how I was able to in the past. Because I was a loyal Yotel member, okay? And I would still go back.
I mean, listen, you do what you got to do. I think it's fine. I'm not picky about, unlike Ramona on vacation, I would sleep in pretty much most beds. So unless it looks like there are bed bugs in.
No, and this is why I stay there, because I know what I'm getting and I know that it's clean. So, like, that's why, like, you know, if anything else for that same rate that I'd get would be, like, you know, a disaster. So no, I'm very loyal to the hotel, and I noticed they were in that performance space, which I guess is quite popular for, like, local talent.
I feel like, I feel like it is I feel like anywhere you can rent in the city, every person who wants a big space will do it, especially for, like, a production crew. Because that's the thing. I feel like once a place has the location clearance, they just keep coming back because they know they can do it smoothly.
Yeah. And it looks good. I mean, it looks fine. You know, I mean, it looks better than 54 Below or whatever. Was that what it was called? Where she started? I mean, when she was out here performing in LA, I mean, she was, like, in a parking garage. So, I mean, the Yotel performance space is like, the Lincoln Center. I mean, I'm happy to see it. But Luann is looking for sex comics. She wants to have comedians that talk about sex. I guess Class with the Countess is dead, huh? We're totally past that.
If you juxtaposed Luann now and Luann in season 1, I think she'd be horrified.
Yeah. Like, Mrs. De Lesseps.
She is such a caricature. I feel like that's what Carol Radziwill in every interview. She's like, Luann is not a real person. And that is, like, the most accurate way to describe her. Like, she's just So there's something about her that she's just like, she's gotten so far into her own head that she believes she is like a persona. But it's oddly amusing
Yeah.
at times, somehow.
It is. I enjoy her on the show. She contributes very little, but I enjoy it nonetheless.
My mom met her years ago, and they were staying at the same hotel in Miami, and they were at the bar, and my mom and stepdad were sitting next to her. My mom went up, and my mom goes up to her and calls her Leanne, and she politely corrected her, and she said that she didn't mind. It was very gracious about it. And then my mom told her, she goes, I can't believe she said that. She goes, you know, you look a lot better in person than you do on camera.
Oh my God, just what she wants to hear.
And I was like, Mom, you can't say these things. She's like, I'm sorry, I'm just blunt. Like,
yeah. Oh goodness. Well, I'm sure Lou handled it with class at the time.
Yes.
I don't know who we have now.
It was pre-arrest.
Sonia comes in dressed in a Kylie Kendall jumpsuit. I don't know what the hell she has on. She looks ridiculous. She wants to build her own life and get paid to do it. And now she wants to get paid to be in this ridiculous show, this off-Broadway experience with Luann, singing the same songs for like year 5.
I mean, I also think that, like, I get why she'd want to get paid, but at the same time, I always thought she was included just so they had like a production storyline.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like you're going as the way you would to like go film at a lunch. Like, I don't like if she were like going to every single location with her throughout the country, that's one thing. But like one time in the city, I'm like, I don't know, you're going because you're filming in the show. That's the way I thought it was.
Like it's just for the show.
Yeah, like I don't.
Sounds like it to me. I'm tired of the show. I mean, at this point, I feel like people have either found a way to see it or they haven't because they're not interested.
I mean, yeah, it's a dead storyline. It's been going on for 3 or 4 seasons, right?
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
Yeah, I think about 3 now. I think this is the 3rd or maybe even the 4th. But we've heard a lot about it. Another thing that happens in this episode is Leah and Tinsley quickly FaceTime, and Leah invites Tinsley to go to this haunted house, Blood Manor, which is like a tourist trap. Like, is this something like you like Ripley's Believe It or Not? Like you just go, like you pay money to walk through a haunted house somewhere in New York?
I think so. It reminds me of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yes.
Or Jekyll and Hyde. Have you been there? I love that place as a kid.
I think they closed it now. I remember that. I remember walking by that and being like, that's so kitschy, but like I've never done it.
Oh, I remember we would go into the city for birthdays of friends when I was growing up. And anyone who had like a fall or October birthday, they're like, I have to have my birthday dinner at Jekyll and Hyde. And I loved it. I thought it was fun because to me, the like Halloween and fall in the city and in that region is so like pivotal that I liked it. For me, it felt like something I would do growing up.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was kind of like a pop-up thing. Maybe it is. I don't know, but they had.
Yeah,
like,
well, I'm sure they must have been, right?
Yeah. The ladies were scared by these like 2 men. I think Ramona like. She heard the crying and laughing. Like, I think everyone needed to see her get shaken up a little bit.
It was probably like a production assistant too.
Yeah, poor guy. And then Sonia made me laugh because she was just like mortified that she even said like, I should have wore a diaper, which is classic. I love it. Cackling twins. Did you see those? They compared them to this Dumb and Dumber. Oh, classic. What else happens? Yeah. After, I actually like that we got to see a little bit of the scary stuff because usually I feel like it's like they give you like 20 seconds and then it's back to someone yelling. So I was like, okay, all right, we get to kind of go through the experience together, and it was just long enough.
I thought they did a really good job. I thought it was fun because I feel like the New York women, Ramona especially, are so uptight a lot, and they're like, oh, I can't be seen doing this. Yet when they drink, it's like a total like it's a completely different experience. But I thought it was fun to like loosen them up because I feel like they're like, oh no. I really enjoyed it. For me, it was like, that is fall in New York City. Is every middle-aged woman doing that? Maybe not. But to me, I liked it. It felt very accurate to me.
Yeah. I noticed Dorinda said she's been trying to get them to go there for 2 years. And that's another reason why I think they were like, the production was like, can we get a permit to go here? If we can, let's just do it. I feel like they were like looking for anything that they could possibly do. Then they go to a tequila bar afterwards, which naturally, the ladies are really upset initially that Tinsley posted on Instagram that she was with Scott because she didn't tell her unsupportive friends fast enough. I guess Lou was very upset and bothered by this. What the hell is she going to tell them for?
I mean, honestly, I used to love Dorinda. I don't care that her house flooded. I don't care that she and John broke up because she is so mean this season that any ounce of sympathy I would have otherwise had has been dissipated completely.
What about the rib? That's another thing she brings up too, the broken rib.
I mean, I don't care because she's so mean to Tinsley. Like, that's the thing is, like, theoretically, I feel badly. Like, I don't think anyone deserves to deal with some of what she's going through, but she's so mean.
She's handling it really poorly, and she's doubling down on it too.
She is condescending. She is degrading. She is just so nasty. I mean, the way she speaks to her, it is like the most dismissive. I think Dorinda looks awful this season. I have so many things I could say about the cast in general. I think Dorinda is nasty. It is so unwarranted how mean she has been to Tinsley.
Well, she completely ignored that Tinsley had this news. None of them could have. Not one of them showed their support except for Leah and like Elise, which like doesn't count. But like,
I know I actually like Elise low-key, but
I don't dislike her. I just don't really know who she is. She's still kind of like that, like friend of a friend that's in the group. And I'm like, are you sticking around? Do I have to introduce myself? Like, I still don't know her, but I'll take the support for Tinsley because I am Team Tinsley. I do not care. I think it's really awful, this scene in particular, how Dorinda and the other housewives, even Dorinda even goes to say like, oh, I'm not judgmental. I just don't want to have the wool pulled over my eyes. It's just mean-spirited. There was no genuine emotion or a celebration for Tinsley's news. I don't even think they even cheers to it.
No, they didn't. I hate the current cast. If it were up to me, I would fire Ramona, Dorinda, and Sonia.
You sound like me with Beverly Hills.
I would. I could listen. I could go on a Grant's rant about it, but literally the diatribe that is in my head about them, it's just they're mean. Sonia is awful. Ramona is awful. Dorinda is awful. They just come across as these bitter women, and it's like it is not. It used to be fun to watch at one point in time, and I don't love this season as much because they're just much more bitter than they are jovial. There used to be like, oh, we fight, but then we cry and we laugh and we scream. And now it's like really nasty at times. And I just don't enjoy it the way I used to.
I was going to ask, do you think that they're trying to like pull up like the Bethany side of things as just being cynical and calling it out? But I don't think any of them are that bright to try to fill that void. I don't think any of them would do
Leah
that.
is the only one who can.
Yeah. You approve?
Oh my God, Leah's the best. I wish I had Leah and Bethany on the same season. Leah is the only, Leah is what they tried to do with and failed with Cindy Barshop in season 4. They wanted like a quick-witted, quippy, like spunky woman who could just give it to them and had no filter and didn't care and was more articulate and more intelligent. Unequivocally, that's Leah. She is like a viper, and they didn't know what was. I truly believe they were like, Bethany's not here. Great. No one's going to call us on our, BS. All of a sudden in comes Leah calling them out. And I think that's why they don't like her.
I think that's right. I mean, I'm just thinking to the episode previous, and she called them all out on it. The hypocrisy was terrible. They're talking to her about her behavior, and they're over there. We all saw it.
Oh my God. They're like, I think Ramona and Sonia are two of the most disgusting, vile people I've had. Like, I don't, it's getting to the point where it's not fun for me. And I'm with you. I love Tinsley and I like Leah a lot. I like Elise, although I agree she doesn't really do that much. But for me, it's like, I liked the scenes the most this season with Tinsley and Leah. And now that Tinsley's not on, like, I really like Leah. I'm going to keep watching this season. But if there's not a big cast shakeup, I might eventually drop off because it's really like it's getting too heavy for me to enjoy.
15 minutes.
It is being spirited, and I like Leah, and it's like it's fine and everything, but like I wonder how the dynamic will change now that Tinsley's out, because like Leah's not connected to any of these women.
No, not at all. And that's the thing. And like them sitting at dinner, like even Luann, who I don't love, but I like, but she's sort of been the neutral ground. Like even for her to jump on the bandwagon with Dorinda, and then for Ramona to be like, I felt so badly I did that to Tinsley. It's like, no, you didn't. Because if you genuinely felt badly, you would have said something. You only had like a follow-up thing with her on camera because production probably forced you to. Like, don't act like you would have done that of your own accord.
Yeah, let's jump forward a little bit. If we have time, we'll go back to other stuff, but let's do that because this leads into Ramona wishing Tinsley well at T-Bar on the Upper East Side, and Lou joined as well. No Dorinda, no Sonia, which I was like, where the hell is Sonia? And Ramona, yeah, she says she feels bad listening. Of course, she takes no accountability. I listened to Dorinda. I did what she told me to do. She didn't take any responsibility for being a bitch. Sorry.
No, it was BS. I call BS on her. I hate Ramona Singer. I'll say it on the record. I hope she listens to your podcast and hears me. She is a horrible, horrible human being. I cannot stand her.
Well,
and I thought that was so fake.
Somehow she gets more dates than me because she has one waiting for her. She double booked, which was so rude. Like, figure it out.
By the way, she gets dates because it's like a game of probability. I'm sure if you went on Grindr for an hour, you'd have far more luck than she'd have in a month on Tinder. She is awful. She's insufferable. I mean, honestly, you hear and she's like not bright either, like you said. So it's not even like pleasant. She just bats her eyelashes and thinks she's being sexy, and it's so awkward.
Oh my God, it's so awkward. And she's pulling from the same swamp that everybody else has pulled from. A friend of Harry Dubin's, that this guy, he went out with both Lou and Tinsley and was at the Regency. So it's the same garbage men. What do you expect?
I know. And the thing is like, I actually think, especially because, you know, my parents are divorced and like I grew up with a single mom who, you know, was like dating. I think it's an interesting storyline to capture as like a middle-aged single woman dating and how difficult that is. But Ramona is just so unlikable that I just am not interested in her story doing that. Like, I don't want to watch Ramona be the one to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I get the Ramona hate. I mean, I give a little more credit to Sonia. I just, this whole storyline with the Century 21, I was happy for her. I give her I cut her some more slack. Maybe I'm wrong for doing that. I don't love her behavior this season, but I don't know. I don't lump her into the same mess as Ramona.
I do. I just think it's so sad because I feel like there isn't a lot of representation for people above a certain age. And I feel like they're all single, they're all collective, and they all could really band together. And I feel like they just don't do it. Like, I don't know. I can't stand Sonia. I think she's so mean. It's also really hard. I don't mean to get political, but it's very hard for me to take the fact that these are women who are on a show on Bravo, no less, that is a very LGBTQ diverse friendly network, or at least it touts itself as such. And then there are these like big stark Trump supporters. Like, it's hard for me to take that out of it watching, which is my personal bias. But it's like, you know, Sonia like brags about how she knew the Trumps, and it's like, I can't I can't remove that from the equation, to be honest.
I mean, it's getting harder and harder. I mean, I get it. I somehow am able to block that out, but that might not be the best thing. That might be, you know, ignorant of me, because I mean, it is serious, and you have to think about these things now more than ever. But I try to find the fun in the show. I have to.
I agree. And I think Leah, and that's the thing, is like Leah, when she's drunk, to me is the fun. Like, that was like hilarious. I was cackling. I was like, the funniest thing. He's like doing cartwheels. I'm like, oh my God, could you imagine being like on the crew, like watching this go down, just like laughing with, like, that's hilarious.
Ramona, though, is very impressed now. She's come around with Tinsley and Scott because Scott is building out a closet for Tinsley. That's it.
I can't. Well, I guess with the Mario, I mean, I don't know. I guess Mario never built her a closet, so she thinks it's impressive.
Oh my God, stupid.
I mean, honestly, it's really, really disgusting the way they view it. And I do feel for Tinsley because she does want children and like they've already had that experience and like they're not sympathetic to the fact that like they already have gone through that phase. And I just think it's really disappointing. But the shade that Tinsley threw when she called Sonia a mother figure was hilarious. I was dying when she's like, yeah, so like she's like, yeah, like my mom, and then like Sonia, who's like a mom to me. It's like good because Sonia has this like holier than thou attitude about Tinsley, and like I did so much for you. It's like Tinsley was a better addition to the show than Sonia. Like Tinsley was an it girl on the society pages. Like I didn't see Sonia on page 6 all the time. I remember seeing Tinsley's name on page 6, you know?
I don't know. I don't know if I totally agree with I think with Sonia, I just think she is such a good addition. She's just outlasted so many. So I have to give her that credit.
I mean, I think that's the thing is like like several years ago, yes, but I think the antics for me, like that's the thing. Season was like, when did Sonia come on? I think 3 or right 4, 3.
I don't 3.
I think like I would say like through Bethany's return and a season or 2 into Bethany's return, like all those seasons I for the most part enjoyed, but like once it got to like 9 or 10, after that it's been darker and darker. But Bethany, they were all so intimidated by Bethany that they wouldn't be as blunt, and now that Bethany's gone, they're a lot more free, and I don't know, I don't like it.
Off the rails.
I just feel like they remember when they were doing press for the season and they were all like, well, now that Bethany's gone, we feel like we don't have to walk on eggshells.
They all said that. Yeah. They all said that. And it's like,
no, please go back to walking on eggshells because you're extraordinarily unlikable.
I mean, yeah, they're really showing their ass. I mean, they're showing a part that could lose a big portion of their fan base just by being themselves. It's like, it's hard. I mean, now we're down a housewife too. So we're only going to get more airtime with these women. And, I mean, it's like less watered down. So it's going to have to be even further exposed to their personalities and biases. And I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I want to mention, because I want to just jump backwards. Ramona was on a phone with the boatman, which who cares? I mean, nothing. But she drove out Sonia and Dorinda an hour drive to Larry Scott, who's supposed to be this incredible party premier. Have you ever heard of this guy growing up in the tri-state area?
No. And I will say, I thought it was funny how, like, yes, it's far away, but Bethpage is not the Hamptons. The Hamptons is another, like, 2 hours. It is far. I don't know why they went there, but Dorinda being like, you were nowhere near the Hamptons, number one. And number two, there are party planners who are esteemed in the city. Why would you go to Bethpage is like, for context, that is like going to like your hometown on Rhode Island. Like it's a random normal suburb. Like there's nothing there.
I've never heard of it.
It's just a town on Long Island. Like there's houses and there's a train station and everyone works in the city and commutes to the city. And it's fine. It's pleasant, but like nobody would have an office there. Like it's so
random. All it was just for the show. This was a deal that Ramona struck to get 50% off so they could take that picture at the end and put it on the Instagram and say, oh yeah, and you're going to be featured on the show. Your business is going to be featured on the show. We're going to show the sign. That's all that it was a business deal from Ramona.
Oh, totally. It's so like, did you those like state routes in like the tri-state area where they have like these shopping centers and there's these like random businesses inside?
Yeah.
That's the kind of place they were at. Like a total random, like something you'd see on Jersey Housewives. That's what this is.
Yeah, I did get kind of a Jersey vibe of like, it just definitely is not the city. This is like some like random place with a big parking lot. Like that's what I thought.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. It's like so I saw that and I was like, why would you go all the way to Bethpage for a party planner?
And
what?
And not only that, but like she's using this is her coming out party, coming out single. She divorced Mario 5 years ago in 2015. She's been out single, screwing around for 5 years.
But that's the thing is like, I actually think some of the theoretical storylines would be great to see, just not with Ramona. Like, I don't care about Ramona because she's so unlikable to me. But yeah, that was really weird. And that felt like such a, like, we need an excuse for a party moment that I really didn't like.
Before we head into our final thoughts, I want to just mention that this guy, Larry, he proposed Ramona sit in the center of the room holding court, being the chandelier. And she, of course, agreed with this. She hated everybody else's ideas. But the idea of putting her front and center, that she was okay with. Oh, yeah.
I can't. I'm done with Ramona Singer. I'm done with Sonia Morgan. I'm done with Dorinda Medley. I pray there's a shakeup next season. I think we need some fresh blood, especially now with 5 housewives. They have to bring in at least 2. One will not cut it.
Minimum two. And yeah. I bet they'll tap into Leah's group of friends because she's like fringe on the show, like she's on the sidelines, like she's not connected to any of these women. And also, they'll bring in somebody younger, and that's all they care about. So,
well, Leah, she is, I think, more popular than anyone even thought. Because I don't know if you've seen her on Instagram. Her following has shot up more than any first season housewife I can think of, with the exception of maybe Denise Richards. But Denise Richards already was such a big name that she already had a lot of followers. Garcelle also, I can't really tell because she had a lot of followers to begin with. But like out of like the no name housewives who joined, Leah's Instagram has by far been more popular, like astronomically across any city.
You mean she's doing better than Jennifer Aiden?
Final thoughts.
Let's head into our final thoughts here, which for me will all be around Tinsley. We had one last Tinsley Dale crying scene. Sonia almost threw Dale into a lamp, which made me laugh. That was so ridiculous. I love that moment. But you know what, Tinsley, thank you for your service. Thank you for giving us the storylines you had, and being pretty vulnerable, unlike other people in your sisterhood over there. I think you were quite open and honest on the show, and I wish her nothing but the best. I liked her final scene, looking out in the big expedition or whatever she was in. I like the way they sent her off. We saw her walking the streets, coming back into the city. Now we see her driving out of the city with her dogs and those cute coats. I wish her the best.
I love Tinsley. I couldn't agree more. I don't think she was a dramatic addition, but I think she was light. She was sweet. I think she came in at an interesting time. She has a very interesting story, a lot of ups and downs. I love her. I wish she were still on, and I am sad to see her go, but I do think that hopefully it's a good chapter for her. And it seems like she's still happy all these months later. So she made the right decision. And if nobody kills each other during quarantine, then you're in good hands, clearly.
Right. I hope that she's at the reunion, all parts.
She has. I can't imagine she's not.
Because we never saw her and Dorinda squash anything. And she tried to give her that hug last week in Newport, but it didn't really work. But I really want to get an update on her life. I'm invested. I mean, I think we saw the flashbacks. We all watched as she met Scott, as she broke up with him. And, the viewers really are invested in that relationship, whether you like her or not. I mean, we saw it from the beginning. So I want to know more. I want to know where she's at. I wish her well.
I absolutely agree. I will miss Tinsley.
Now, this mid-season trailer, I'm going to give one final quick bonus thought.
I saw your tweet and I agree.
First, none of it is in New York. I don't know what this what this was. All they are is in hotel rooms on vacation, drinking. And the only thing I think that caught my attention was that, what did I even have here? I can't even read my writing. Oh yeah, Leah is cheapening the group. Actually, she escalates the group. And I would agree with Leah. She's escalated the group this season.
Leah is the best addition to New York Housewives in years. Like, I actually think she's having a better first season than Dorinda did.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Oh, she absolutely escalates it because she's sharper. Because that's the thing. They're not very bright, and that's why Bethany was able to walk all over them. And Leah is just sharp. Mm-hmm. She's just with it. Like, the rest of these women, like, I would say, well, I guess Luann is articulate, but I don't know. Sonia and Ramona, like, they're just like, I don't know. They're not as quippy.
Yeah. I almost wish I didn't see the mid-season trailer because I was hoping that there'd be more things, and I will continue to watch, obviously, and I'll continue to do this rundown, but I almost wish I didn't know because it kind of lowered my expectations. And I think now more than ever, I need to heighten my expectations in life. So
it sort of reminds me of that season of Orange County, which actually wound up being very good, but how when Megan King Edmonds joined and they had the other housewife who was filming and quit, and then they got down to like 5 for like half this, like for a lot of the season, and like didn't know what to do, and then they had the Brooks cancer thing, so it wound up being a good season. But like they sort of like, I feel like producers didn't know what to do, and that's why they threw Elise in, but it wasn't done organically.
Yeah.
Like I really think they need to like take the time and think about it next season.
I agree. If you're going to introduce a friend, you got to do a better job. I don't know who she is. Anyway.
Yeah.
That'll do it for us here. We're at time, but thank you for the rundown. Thank you guys for listening. Noah, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, I'll be back when the show returns to Bravo. I believe we've got 2 weeks. Unfortunate, but I'll be here. And as always, check out the podcast. Full episodes will be returning as well. My thanks to Noah. Have a good night.
This has been Grant's Rant Small Talk. Real Housewives of New York City Rundown. Want more? Join the full conversation on Grant's Rant Hollywood Talk podcast.